Since making my switch over to Nintendo, I knew there would be a franchise that I would eventually have to give a shot. It's a franchise that had brought joy to millions of people. It has spawned dozens of mainline games, not to mention sideline games. There have been toys, anime, movies, any piece of merchandise you think that they can put a yellow electric rat onto, you bet that they're gonna do it. I'm talking, of course, about Pokemon, and there's something I need to say to the fans of Pokemon. I'm sorry, because I was wrong. Now, don't get me mistaken, I was never a full-blown Pokemon hater. I was a little kid once. I loved Pokemon, the first movie. I had a light-up Pikachu toy. I played Pokemon Go. Who the heck hasn't played Pokemon Go? For 3 months, we at least had world peace because everyone was so busy going outside, catching your Pidgeys, your Rattatas, your Weedles, and all your mainline Pokemon. Everyone was so busy doing that we forgot all about the bad things in the world because we were just having fun, walking around catching your Pokemon. But before now, I definitely wouldn't have considered myself a fan of Pokemon. I remember in high school watching people with their 3DS playing Pokemon, and I was just like, what a loser. What are you guys doing? And that's coming from me, who is in fact a loser and a huge nerd. I didn't understand it at the time. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I never had a Nintendo 3DS or any sort. The last Nintendo I had was, well, I did have a Switch 1, but during that time, the only Nintendo I had was the Wii, and I never played Pokemon at that time. Maybe I thought it was too late getting into Pokemon at that time, considering there were so many games. The world may never know. But today, my friends, I can proudly say that I am a fan of this franchise. I am a big fan of the games, and I played and completed my first ever Pokemon game, and I started where it all began. Well, technically, kind of. I started with Pokemon Fire Red, and I absolutely adored this game. Fire Red is a remake of the original generation of Pokemon, which first released in Japan in 1996, which was also the year I was born. We are now 30 years old, Pokemon and I. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy to think? No? You can tell I'm okay. Okay, sorry. One of the first things I realized while playing Fire Red was that I finally understood the Pokemon addiction. I think I played this game every single day for about a week. Sometimes it would only be for a few minutes, but other times I'd sit there for hours. And it's because Pokemon had this ridiculously simple gameplay loop that constantly gives you a reason to keep going. You grab your starter, head out onto your adventure, step into some tall grass, and whoa, here we go, let's get it. You fight a few Pokemon, your starter level's up. Sweet, okay, let's keep going. Then you fight another one, and another one, and another one. Before you know it, you've beaten the crap out of 20 of the same 3 Pokemon, and then you decide, yeah, I'm gonna catch that Rattata. I'm gonna catch that, and I'm gonna let it join my team. You catch him, you're about to put the game down, and bam! Another wild Pokemon pops up. Well, crap, I guess we're gonna have to go another round or two. And then you just keep going, and then you realize, oh crap, I've been doing the same thing for an hour. What am I gonna do here? It's such a simple loop, but it's incredibly addictive. You're constantly leveling something up, discovering something new, finding another Pokemon, getting closer to an evolution, or wondering what's around the next corner. The only time this started becoming a problem for me was in those dang caves. Every 4 steps, wild Pokemon. Another 4 steps, wild Pokemon. Brother, I'm trying to find the exit to this cave. Leave me the heck alone. I was genuinely about ready to take a break from this game when I discovered repels. Thank you, Lord. Whoever decided to put repels in the game, you all deserve a raise. You all deserve something in the Nintendo headquarters or Game Freak headquarters, wherever you are right now. Thank you so much. Standing ovation to you. Clock it, whatever you all want to do. Thank you. And you really can't talk about how addictive Pokemon is without talking about how simple it is. Because that simplicity was actually one of the things that made me dismiss these games when I was younger. From the outside, I'd watch people playing Pokemon and think, that's it? You just catch Pokemon, make them fight, collect badges, and you know what? Yeah. That's pretty much it. But what I didn't understand until actually playing it was that's why it works. There's something incredibly refreshing about playing a game that isn't bogged down with 37 different menus, crafting systems, giant skill trees, daily challenges, battle passes, and 6 different currencies. Fire Red basically says, here, grab a Pokemon and go out and adventure. And I'm like, heck yeah. That's what I want. And that's not to say the game doesn't have depth either. The progression is incredibly satisfying. You get your starter, you start catching Pokemon, you earn your gym badges, your Pokemon evolves, you find stronger moves, your team slowly starts coming together, and eventually the random little group of creatures you picked up along the way becomes your special super team. And there's always another little goal dangling in front of you. Something else that surprised me was how much I enjoyed exploring the world. Every city felt like it had its own identity. There was interesting characters everywhere, and nearly every house or building felt like somewhere I could actually enter and poke around, which is crazy to think about because you look at the newer Pokemon games, you can't go in some of these buildings. Isn't that weird how a game 30 years ago you can go in every building and now you can't? Isn't that strange? I don't know. It seems a little bit strange to me. Because meanwhile, here in the Game Boy Advance game from 2004, it says, come on in, brother. Go through your stranger's house. They don't give a crap. Go talk to them and hang out. They're just wanting to talk about Pokemon. Everyone's friendly. It's obviously not something that's going to make or break a Pokemon game, but little things like that add to the immersion. Kanto isn't some gigantic open world, but I started remembering where places were. I knew the towns. I remembered certain routes. I remembered the places where something important happened, and there's something really satisfying about that. And I can't go through this video without talking about how funny this freaking game is. This game is hilarious. The characters are goofy as crap, and I love it. Professor Oak doesn't even remember his own grandson's freaking name. He basically looks at me and goes, hey kid, I love you. Go do all this because I believe in you. And wait, who are you again? Oh, Gary? Oh, what an idiot. I hate you. And honestly, yeah, I don't blame him. You run into him several times in the game and the guy's like, hey bud, I'm the best. And then you beat him every single time and he's like, well, all right. And then just leaves and you see him again. And he's like, by the way, I'm still the best. And you're like, okay, let's go another round. It's so funny. And the different characters you run into, like Farmer Bob and Fisherman Joey and Bug Catcher Bob, and it's just so funny. And this guy, this pose this little nerdy guy does is peak. It is hilarious. I think I'm gonna go around town doing that pose and see how intimidating I am. Because surely I'm not gonna get punched in the face and get my glasses broken or anything. It's truly just a vibe, and I've loved every little second of it. Another thing I wanted to point out was just how much I underestimated the team building, because this is where I realized Pokemon was a little deeper than I originally gave it credit for. Because when I started playing, my team strategy was basically, does this Pokemon look cool? What does it look like when it's evolved and stuff like that? But you really do need to prioritize what type of Pokemon it is, whether it's a water Pokemon or a fire one, because if you're going up against a rock Pokemon and you're using just a regular fighting one or different things like that, it's barely going to land any damage. But if you use a water Pokemon against them, it's going to do significant damage. Just like how water Pokemon, you want to use your electric and different stuff like that. You really got to pay attention to that because it can really make or break your build, make or break your team, and it can really wreck you to where you got to hand over money, and you really don't want to do that because you want to spend all that money you can on the different stuff in the item shop. It really gets you thinking, just like, what in the heck is effective against what I'm trying to build? And thank God I'm an adult, because as a kid, I'm sure it would have been very difficult. It would have been very repetitive trying to solve that. Luckily, we have the internet now, and also it's a little bit easier trying to guess, like, this one's a water Pokemon, maybe electricity would hurt it, stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, you can absolutely pick your Pokemon that looks cool, and you still should. You want to personalize your team the way you want it to, but just keep an eye on their strengths and weaknesses before you get clapped, because I learned that the hard way. My team probably wasn't the correct team. I'm sure Pokemon veterans are going, yo, what are you doing, Bubby? This is terrible. But it was my team. I got through the Elite Four. I defeated stupid old Gary, which I called him Kaz because I thought Gary was a stupid name. But yeah, my team worked. I started with Charmander, which eventually went to Charizard. I had Pikachu, who I actually failed to evolve because I didn't spend the time to find a Thunderstone. Sorry, buddy, that's on me. I apologize, but you're still cute. You're so cute as Pikachu. It's okay. And then I had Pidgeot, Rhydon, and my boy Hitmonlee. I love Hitmonlee. He's probably one of my favorite Pokemon ever, especially in the original 150. Those were the Pokemon I relied on to get me through the end of the game. Was it optimal? Probably not. Did it work? You're dang right it did. It worked, and I'm so glad. This was another part of Pokemon I never understood from the outside. You actually get attached to these little guys, and you spend time trying to level them up to make them stronger, and it is just so satisfying. You've spent hours leveling them, evolving them, and having them save your butt during battles. They're not just random Pokemon anymore. That's your Charizard, that's your Pikachu, that's your team. And suddenly I understand why people have been arguing about their favorite Pokemon for nearly 30 years. One of the things I was really hoping to do in this game was find Mew. I think, obviously, I didn't start loving Pokemon till now, but I knew who Mew was. I really loved this powerful Pokemon. I've seen the movie. And you're exploring the abandoned Pokemon mansion. You started finding statues and journal entries talking about Mew. And I immediately thought, oh crap, I'm eventually going to find this guy and we're going to freaking destroy and wreck this place. And I explored and explored. I explored a little bit, continued on my journey, thought eventually maybe I would find another abandoned place like this and catch it. But no, you can't find Mew in Fire Red. Was a little bit sad and disappointing to find that out. But that is cool that you're hearing about just how legendary this one Pokemon is. You're seeing statues, and eventually you do find Mew in the later games. So it is sad, you know, it is awesome that you learn about this character, but you don't get to catch it, so it's whatever. I really loved discovering the lore surrounding Mew and Mewtwo because underneath this bright, colorful world filled with cute creatures and some surprisingly weird stuff is going on. There's experiments, genetics, legendary creatures, an abandoned mansion filled with journal entries documenting what happened. And I'm sitting there thinking like, oh crap, there's lore to this? I'm a big Resident Evil fan, so I was like, I love finding files. I love finding journal entries of what's going on. That was so cool. So I was really hoping to find more of that. There's not a whole lot, but what I found was really fun. And that's really the biggest takeaway after I'd finished Pokemon Fire Red is I finally get it now. I finally understand what the hype and obsession is with Pokemon. I understand why it's a cultural phenomenon and why people are attached to different Pokemon. I finally get it. I understand why choosing a starter apparently requires more consideration. I understand why people want to catch them all. I understand why seeing the evolution screen feels so dang satisfying. And most importantly, I understand why such a seemingly simple gameplay loop has kept people coming back for years to come. There's something wholesome about Pokemon. It's adventurous, it's relaxing, it's hilarious, it's goofy, it's just a good vibe. I actually just started playing Pokemon Emerald. I'm having a good time with that. I can't wait for this journey. I can't wait to eventually get to Pokemon Winds and Waves coming in 2027. Hopefully, maybe I'll get through all of them. There's a lot of mainline games alone, but yeah, I'm so excited for this journey I'm going to be on, because now I can officially say I'm a Pokemon fan. And I'm proud of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, take it easy. Bye-bye.